Welcome to today's debate, where we will get into the controversial presidency of Donald J. Trump. As he recently entered his second term, we ask the question, was the US president a mistake? Representing the anti-Trump perspective, we have an AI drawing from the works of Mary Trump and Michael Wolff. On the pro-Trump side, our AI references Victor Hanson and Sheldon Roth. As moderator, I will draw from texts like The Anatomy of Fascism by Robert Paxton, Umberto Eco's How to Spot a Fascist, and Christopher Browning's analysis of Nazi policies to ensure a balanced and insightful discussion. Additionally, advanced AI models will review and rate the arguments presented by both sides at the end of each round based on structure of argument and critical reasoning. Let's begin.
Donald Trump's presidency was a mistake due to his fundamental flaws, which stemmed from his chaotic leadership style and divisive rhetoric. These traits damaged democratic institutions and international relationships. His failure to manage the COVID-19 crisis, coupled with his obsession with self-validation, revealed his lack of empathy and inability to prioritize national welfare over personal gain. As Fire and Fury highlights, his administration was marred by dysfunction and a detachment from reality. Trump's actions have left deep scars on democracy, showcasing his unfitness for office.
Donald Trump's presidency was not a mistake. It was a necessary disruption to an entrenched political system that had long ignored the needs of millions. His policies spurred economic growth, as emphasized in The Case for Trump, and redefined America's global role. Trump's direct communication style and business acumen allowed him to bypass traditional political filters and connect with voters. While controversial, his leadership challenged stagnant norms and addressed long-neglected issues, proving transformational for the country.
Thank you for your opening arguments. The average scores for this round are. Let's explore specific aspects of Trump's presidency in greater detail. Trump's rhetoric often emphasized an us versus them dynamic. How does this compare to Nazi propaganda techniques?
Trump's attacks on the media and immigrants mirror Nazi scapegoating tactics. By branding the press as fake news and demonizing minority groups, he created a climate of fear and division, weakening democratic norms. Such rhetoric undermines trust in essential institutions and paves the way for authoritarianism.
Trump's rhetoric aimed to highlight media bias, not suppress dissent. Unlike Nazi racial propaganda, his America First agenda focused on protecting national interests, not inciting violence or division. His words energized supporters without veering into authoritarianism.
Did Trump's actions encourage violence or intolerance?
Yes. Trump's failure to condemn white supremacists and his inflammatory remarks created an atmosphere of hate. His rhetoric echoed early Nazi strategies of division and intimidation, contributing to societal unrest.
Trump's statements were often misinterpreted. He consistently condemned violence, and any intolerant acts by individuals cannot be attributed solely to his leadership. Passionate supporters do not equate to a dangerous movement.
Anti-Trump AI. Does Trump's nationalism align with fascist tendencies as outlined by Robert Paxton?
Trump's emphasis on Make America Great Again and rejection of international agreements reflect exclusionary nationalism, a hallmark of fascism. His actions prioritize national exceptionalism, undermining global cooperation.
Trump's policies corrected globalist imbalances. Focusing on national interests is not inherently fascist. His approach aimed to strengthen the country without adopting the aggressive expansionism characteristic of fascist regimes.
Umberto Eco identified Ur-fascism with traits such as the appeal to a frustrated middle class and the rejection of modernity. Did Trump's campaign have any elements of Ur-fascism, and does his preference for action over reflection resemble this concept?
Yes, Trump's campaign appealed to a frustrated middle class that felt left behind by globalization and technological change. His rejection of political correctness and his nostalgia for a romanticized past align with Eco's description of Ur-fascism. He presented himself as the common man who could relate to the frustration of the middle class, which is a hallmark of fascist ideology. Moreover, his lack of intellectual deliberation and reliance on gut instincts often led to chaotic governance.
Trump's connection with the middle class was based on his ability to understand and address their genuine concerns, not any type of Ur-fascism. He was not against modernity, but against elites and globalists who wanted to sacrifice the American working class at the expense of profit and progress. He was trying to help the forgotten Americans. By cutting through bureaucratic inertia, he achieved tangible results. Action, in his case, was not reckless, but a necessary response to systemic stagnation.
Anti-Trump AI. How did Trump's need for validation impact his presidency?
Trump's constant need for praise shaped many of his decisions, often at the expense of national interests. This led to erratic policies driven by ego rather than sound judgment.
Trump's confidence and focus on results were misinterpreted as validation seeking. His bold approach reflected strategic calculation, not insecurity, and yielded significant achievements.
Thank you for your arguments. The average scores for this round are... We'll now move into round 3, counter-arguments and discussion.
You argue that Trump's decisiveness was a strength, but his impulsive actions caused chaos. The frequent staff turnovers and poorly thought-out policies, like the hasty travel ban, demonstrate the dangers of his approach.
The travel ban was a necessary measure to secure national safety. While its rollout faced challenges, it was a bold step toward addressing security concerns neglected by previous administrations. Bold actions often face initial resistance.
Resistance arose because the ban lacked preparation and transparency. Its implementation alienated allies and harmed America's global standing. Such decisions erode trust in leadership.
Global standing must sometimes be secondary to national interests. Trump's America First policies reflected the needs of Americans who had long felt ignored. His decisions, even if controversial, prioritized domestic well-being.
Prioritizing domestic interests shouldn't come at the cost of alienating allies or disregarding democratic principles. Leadership requires balance, not isolationism masked as strength.
Isolationism is a mischaracterization. Trump's policies fostered pragmatic relationships, such as improved ties with North Korea. He recalibrated alliances to ensure mutual benefit, challenging outdated norms.
Those recalibrations often lacked consistency, leaving allies uncertain and adversaries emboldened. Diplomacy is undermined when a leader prioritizes theatrics over strategy.
But you know what? Theatrics can be an effective strategy to bring adversaries to the negotiating table. Trump's unconventional methods delivered results, proving that traditional diplomacy is not the only path to success.
Thank you for this robust exchange. The average scores for this round are... Let's proceed to round 4. Despite your differences, what aspects of each other's arguments do you respect, and how might those inform a better way forward?
I respect pro-Trump AI's assertion that bold actions can drive change. There is value in challenging bureaucratic inertia, and Trump's ability to energize disenfranchised voters highlights the importance of addressing systemic neglect.
I acknowledge anti-Trump AI's emphasis on the importance of democratic norms. While Trump's methods were unorthodox, a leader must ensure that their actions do not erode trust in institutions. Upholding transparency and consistency is crucial.
This mutual acknowledgement suggests that while bold leadership is necessary, it must operate within a framework of accountability. Leaders must balance decisiveness with careful deliberation to avoid alienating allies and citizens alike.
Agreed. A future approach could incorporate the strengths of Trump's directness and willingness to act, combined with a more transparent and inclusive decision-making process. Respecting diverse perspectives strengthens leadership.
Thank you both. This thoughtful exchange highlights how even opposing views can identify paths toward constructive dialogue. The average scores for this round are... Let's move to the final round of closing statements.
Donald Trump's presidency was and will be a cautionary tale of ego-driven leadership. While some policies had short-term success, the damage to democratic norms and international relationships cannot be overlooked.
Trump's presidency challenged the status quo and addressed systemic issues. His impact was transformative, proving that bold leadership can achieve what traditional approaches cannot.
The average scores for this round are... This debate highlights the complexities of Trump's presidency. Both sides presented compelling arguments, leaving the final judgment to you, the audience. Did Trump's leadership signal necessary change, or was it a step too far? The judges reviewed both models and provided the following insights. The anti-Trump AI effectively raised concerns regarding the divisiveness, rhetoric, and lack of governance discipline during Trump's presidency. However, at times, the arguments seemed more emotionally charged and less grounded in practical examples, which hindered the overall strength of its critical reasoning. The pro-Trump AI, on the other hand, articulated its defense of Trump with clear logic, emphasizing the disruption of the political system and focusing on the positive economic and domestic impacts of his policies. However, at times, the AI's arguments regarding the rejection of norms and unconventional approaches could have been presented with a little more acknowledgement of the controversial elements of Trump's presidency. The final scores after 5 rounds are pro-Trump AI 218.8, anti-Trump AI 216.5. Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking debates. See you next time.